Urgently, Putin's Shaheds, a powerful new laser system designed to burn through drones, destroying them in just a few seconds. What kind of powerful weapon has Ukraine developed? This system will replace expensive air defense missiles. Millions saved. And now hippos are joining the war against Russia. The occupiers are in for a new surprise. What is this about? And on top of that, a strike under the radar. A new drone can now break through any Russian air defense. How have our engineers changed the rules of war forever? Watch right now. Welcome, this is the channel Ukraine Today, about the disaster for Russian Shaheds and the new weapon of the Ukrainian armed forces. Right now. My name is Andriy Silakov and we're starting. Our engineers have made a truly colossal breakthrough and developed an advanced technology that is currently nullifying the main pride of the occupiers, Iranian Shaheds. The Ukrainian company Celebrotech has officially unveiled a combat laser with artificial intelligence that is fully capable of incinerating enemy drones right out of the air. The new nightmare of the Russian army, the latest laser system Trident from the Ukrainian company Celebrotech. This is a mobile unit that works in tandem with powerful radars and a smart targeting system, performing all the dirty work completely autonomously. Artificial intelligence instantly detects the target, locks onto the flying Shahed, and fires a laser beam. Just 3 to 4 seconds and the laser burns right through the drone's casing from a staggering distance of over 5 kilometers, turning it into nothing more than falling scrap metal.
For almost 4 years, Ukraine was forced to use Patriot PAC-3 missiles costing between $3 and $5 million to intercept Russian-Iranian drones costing $20,000. The cost mismatch was unsustainable. It is reported that the Trident system is approaching initial operational readiness. And
yes, one of the most significant factors to consider is the cost of the issue. A laser shot costs only a few small pennies compared to even the cheapest conventional anti-aircraft missile system. The system is absolutely indifferent to Russian electronic warfare systems. A beam of light cannot be jammed or deceived by interference. Trident methodically burns out the enemy's optics and melts the wings of drones regardless of their size. If these systems are deployed on a large scale, Russian aerial terror will lose all meaning, and Ukraine will save billions of dollars on air defense.
The Ukrainian news outlet Euromaidan Press reports that the system has been under development by the company Celebrotech since at least 2024. And now its testing and verification are in the final stages. The company Celebra has also confirmed that the system was tested on targets ranging in size from 7 inches, 17 to 8 centimeters, up to 13 inches, 33 centimeters. Much about the system remains unknown. The laser's power has not been disclosed. Other important specifications, such as the cooling system, battery capacity, and so on, are also not being revealed. Nevertheless, today this appears to be a significant step forward in the development of a non-kinetic counter-drone system. And
while advanced laser systems will be guarding our skies, Ukrainian industry has prepared a formidable and deadly surprise for the occupiers to strike deep behind their lines. Our military engineers from another company have now officially unveiled a heavy strike drone. Behemoth is a true medium-range machine of destruction, and it has already undergone a successful baptism of fire at the front.
A Ukrainian company, which has technologies for aerial photography, the Skiff reconnaissance drone, as well as developments that have not been publicly announced, in its portfolio. In April, the company signed a cooperation agreement with the German defense unicorn Helsing. The companies agreed on joint development and production at a factory in Germany. It is reported that the German government will provide funding for the production of Deep Strike as part of this cooperation.
The characteristics of the Behemoth make Putin's air defense nervously smoke on the sidelines. This steel monster flies at an extremely low altitude, remaining completely invisible to enemy radars, and easily covers distances of up to 300 kilometers. Most importantly, it carries 75 kilograms of deadly payload. This is a powerful tandem warhead that first pierces armor with a shaped charge and then incinerates everything with a thermobaric explosion.
According to published data, the drone is capable of striking targets at distances of up to 300 kilometers and carrying a warhead weighing up to 75 kilograms. The drone is equipped with a tandem charge that combines a shaped penetrator and a thermobaric munition. A key characteristic of the Behemoth is its ability to fly at low altitudes, which makes it exceptionally challenging to detect and intercept by air defense systems. The drone can operate both in FPV mode and autonomously, so the Starlink system is utilized to facilitate communication.
Technological superiority on the battlefield is rapidly shifting into Ukraine's hands. We are no longer dependent on expensive Western missiles. After all, for many years, Ukraine was forced to wage an extremely exhausting and costly struggle. But now these rules of the game have been broken. The Ukrainian smart laser Trident is ready to shield our skies with an impenetrable barrier, and the heavy, invisible Behemoth drones are already delivering retribution deep into the enemy's rear. A new reality has arrived for the Russians. The resistance to their Shaheds is growing ever stronger, and they will no longer be able to hide from our weapons.
Ukraine is also sending a guided aerial bomb to the front, as announced by Mikhailo Fedorov. Ukraine's defense minister confirmed the new weapon passed all tests and is ready to strike occupier positions. Now Kyiv is fast-tracking its own developments. How is our defense industry forging these powerful weapons? Watch this.
The development of the first Ukrainian KAB, created with the support of the Brave-1 defense cluster, took 17 months. And now the Ministry of Defense has purchased the first experimental batch. As stated by Ukraine's Minister of Defense, Mikhailo Fedorov, pilots are practicing combat scenarios and adapting the use of weapons in real wartime conditions. This is a unique bomb, developed from scratch by Ukrainian engineers without Western or Soviet technologies. Its warhead weighs 250 kilograms and it is capable of striking targets tens of kilometers away.
Ukraine is transitioning away from importing individual solutions to developing and manufacturing its own high-tech weapons, which systematically strengthen the defense forces and deliver a significant technological advantage on the battlefield. Very soon, Ukrainian glide bombs will begin striking enemy targets. We are expanding the scale of solutions that increase range and accuracy of strikes and change the rules of modern warfare. Mikhailo Fedorov, Minister of Defense of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Ukraine is also actively developing and producing a new generation of unmanned systems. For example, the interceptor drone Chaklin has a mission success rate of 88 to 100%, according to Ivan Andrushchak, a representative of the UAV manufacturer. Because even if the mission is not completed, the drone can be safely returned, prepared, and used again. Ukraine presented this UAV model and other domestically developed weapons at the international exhibition SAHA 2026. This is an exhibition for the defense and aerospace industries, which took place in Istanbul from May 5th to 9th. Ukraine was represented by 15 companies at the joint national stand of Sproy. The jet-powered interceptor drone Chaklun is a multifunctional mobile complex designed for aerial visual reconnaissance. It can reach speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour and stay airborne for up to 3 hours. And importantly, it can operate at low altitudes.
The current conflict in the Middle East has clearly demonstrated that even leading global defense companies do not have effective protection from the inexpensive and precise threat posed by drones like the Shahed. But we do because we have already gained experience in countering such attacks. Ukraine has found countermeasures to these challenges and is now effectively using interceptors on the battlefield. That is why there is such high interest in these systems. Ivan Andrushchak, representative of the Ukrainian UAV manufacturer Chaklun.
European allies have seen how effective Ukrainian technologies and developments are in combat. That is why they continue to expand cooperation with Ukraine in the field of security and defense. For example, Ukraine and Lithuania have signed an agreement as part of the Drone Deal project. President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed hope that a similar agreement will be signed with Latvia. Ukraine will send its experts to partner countries to exchange experience and strengthen the security of states against expanding Russian aggression. Meanwhile, Dutch and German companies are accelerating the development of the new long-range missile Ruta Block 3 with a range of 2,000 kilometers. The Block 2 version, created with the support of the Ukrainian cluster Brave-1, is currently being tested in Ukraine. This year, its production is planned to be increased.
Europe needs to establish its own missile defense systems and be fully self-reliant in confronting these threats. We repeat once again, we need our own missile defense and the significant strengthening of Ukrainian air defense right now. This week we are working with our partners to strengthen the protection of human lives. Thank you to everyone who is already working on this together with Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Ukrainian weapons are already successfully accomplishing their tasks. On May 17th, a target was hit in the Moscow region of the Russian Federation. The Angstrom enterprise, which specializes in the production of microchips for high-precision weaponry, according to the Ukrainian General Staff. The Solnekhnogorsk pumping station was also successfully targeted and struck. It is used for pumping, storing, and shipping very significant quantities of gasoline and diesel fuel, including for the Russian army.
The more of these strikes and successful breaches of their air defense there are, of everything that is now currently defending and protecting the capital, and especially if these military strikes reach the center of the capital, then that will already be, a complete and total collapse of their policy and their paradigm of decision-making. That is, at that point, it will be necessary to start talking. But from a weakened position, not from a position of strength, we are advancing. We will achieve all our goals in the military operation. Right now, that's not working out, and on the contrary, everything is turning against them with strikes on their own territory. That is why Moscow is the primary political and economic heart of the entirety of the nation, and it is the central place where the nation's power and culture converge. Well, let me see, how should I put it? It's the concentration of all available energy when it comes to making the final decision to stop the war.
Although Russia continues to rely on massive attacks against Ukraine, the war is already being felt in the very heart of the Russian Federation. Strikes on enterprises in the Moscow region prove that a state that was once powerful is now unable to protect itself and is in a very weak position. That is why allies are increasingly investing in joint developments with Ukraine, realizing that Ukrainian experience and technology are becoming the foundation of a new security system in Europe. Karina Laleyan for Freedom TV channel.
And there is more to come. Right now, thousands of drones are operating on the front lines, fundamentally changing the situation at the front. And not only that, unmanned aerial vehicles are tracking the enemy around the clock, directing our artillery and destroying the occupiers' equipment. See in our report how exactly this steel swarm has changed combat tactics. This is
an armed drone. This is an enemy FPV drone on fiber optic cable. It got tangled in the wires and exploded right here on the street.
Hundreds of drones take to the sky every day. They conduct reconnaissance, carry out combat missions, and repel assaults by Russian invaders. Almost every combat brigade of the Ukrainian Defense Forces now has UAV operator companies. And most units have small reconnaissance drones in their arsenal. Mobile groups have also been created to shoot down enemy UAVs.
There are several interception lines where groups can be stationed so that they can cover the sky as much as possible. That is, where we can't reach, another group should be able to, creating a wall for the enemy that they cannot break through.
Ukrainian drones have radically changed the methods of warfare. Military experts suggest that now cost is the most critical and decisive factor. Consequently, the fewer resources spent on destroying a target, the better. To be continued.
Drones have fundamentally transformed the landscape, both in terms of the cost calculation of war and in the availability of very cheap FPV drones costing only a few $100 or $1,000, gradually pushing out the very expensive ones. This includes advanced, highly specialized systems such as tanks, fighter jets, and helicopters.
FPV drones have already become one of the most versatile types of weapons in this war. They have even replaced combat aircraft which do not fly close to the front line due to the risk of being shot down. And UAVs designed for dropping bombs have a number of significant advantages over most other types of weaponry. An FPV drone can cost less than a single artillery shell. It stands out, with greater accuracy.
Something ingenious, highly affordable, scalable, and effective. These are drones equipped with a fiber optic cable. You connect a fiber optic cable to the FPV drone and can transmit data through this cable to the operator. The cable is wound onto a spool and can be extended for 5, 10, 20 or even 50 kilometers. The main advantage is that you don't have to rely on radio communication, which can be spoofed or jammed.
Another innovation of this war has been Ukrainian interceptor drones, high-speed UAVs designed to intercept and destroy strike drones, particularly the Shahed type. The Trident's interceptor drone in the air is a cost-effective alternative to expensive anti-aircraft missiles, acting as an element of short-range air defense.
For almost a year, we worked on finding the right balance between the propellers, motors, and battery. We have many plans for developing the interceptor. At the moment, we are integrating computer vision into it so that pilots can actually lock onto a target from several hundred meters away and then simply take the remote control in their hands and it will still hit the target. And of course, automation is our goal for the future. We are also working on automating the interceptor so that we can almost completely eliminate manual control.
According to reports from Reuters, the governments of at least 2 European countries have now agreed to purchase advanced underwater drones for military use. Currently, EU countries are increasing their defense spending to counter the growing Russian threat. As at the end of 2025, several EU countries were subjected to drone attacks on their territories all at once.
We have seen this happening recently in Munich, Copenhagen, Basel, and Brussels. But it also has a psychological impact on the civilian population who don't understand what's happening and wonder whether the army will be able to protect them. Many questions arise regarding our current capabilities. Can we shoot down drones, and how can we do it in a cost-effective way and on a larger scale, without, for example, having to rely on expensive air-to-air missiles?
Traditional military methods no longer work, experts note. Therefore, Ukraine's experience in using unmanned systems may become a key guarantee of security. Many specialists also predict that drones using artificial intelligence could become the foundation of warfare in the future. Natalia Husak for Freedom TV channel.
And now cornered, the Kremlin resorts to its last playbook. Nuclear blackmail. Moscow, in a panic, began nuclear exercises, apparently to somehow scare the West and distract attention from its shameful failures on the battlefield. But this cheap spectacle failed miserably. Even the most loyal pro-Putin war correspondents are now openly mocking the fake victories of their own generals. More in the report.
The Russian Ministry of Defense continues to report non-existent successes of the Russian army in the war against Ukraine to the authorities. Moreover, even so-called war correspondents who support Russian aggression accuse the ministry of lying and issuing fake reports from the front. For example, the Ministry of Defense reported the successful capture of the settlement of Borovaya in the Kharkiv region. Although at that time the Ukrainian armed forces had already driven the aggressor out of the village. This was reported by the largest propaganda channel. To confirm their supposed successes, the Russian military published a corresponding video. In reality, however, the video was filmed in the settlement of Kolomichika, which has long been under temporary Russian occupation. Military experts note that, on average, it takes Russian troops approximately 36 attacks to capture just 1 square kilometer of Ukrainian territory.
The Russian Federation's occupying military forces currently do not possess enough resources to fully carry out the ambitious strategic objectives that their high-ranking command structure has devised, but they do still have enough to continue their operations. The primary objective is to maintain constant tension along the entire length of the front line and to continue the strategic process of so-called infiltration. This is precisely why Minister Fedorov has set such an incredibly high bar for the military, consistently insisting on the absolute necessity to eliminate approximately 50,000 Russian occupiers every single month. Then, in fact, looking at the broader strategic picture, this level of pressure becomes essential for success. In just a matter of a few months, the Russian army would simply collapse.
The Russian army is losing at least 1,000 soldiers every single day, both killed and wounded. Since the beginning of 2026, the aggressor's losses have already exceeded 141,000 people. For 5 consecutive months, Russia has been losing more personnel than it can mobilize, thanks to the work of Ukrainian UAVs.
Today, the security situation requires maximum unity, determination, and promptness in countering Russian aggression. Today, Ukraine is defending not only itself, we are protecting the future of the entire Euro-Atlantic space. Our common task is to create the conditions for a just peace by strengthening Ukraine's defense capabilities. Alexander Syrsky, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, on Facebook.
In the first quarter of this year, only 70,500 people signed contracts with the Russian Ministry of Defense, which is about 20,000 fewer than planned. This was reported by the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine. To force people to go to the front, the Kremlin uses a wide range of different methods, from significantly increasing one-time payments and paying off loans, to the practice of forcibly sending employees from each company to the army. The State Duma has now introduced mandatory preventive work with those who refuse to serve into the law.
The massive losses of personnel, widespread injuries, and enormous losses to the economy. All of this leads to the fact that sooner or later the entire situation will inevitably collapse, resulting in some kind of major breakdown.
The continuous failures at the front lines, the implementation of urgent military drills, and the persistent problems with the mobilization of troops once again clearly demonstrate that Russia is significantly weakening and is losing its firm control over the entire situation.
Leave me comments, give a like, and stay up to date with the main news. There's more to come.